In Stop Pilates, the basic principle about your neck and your head are about building your body awareness about their alignment in relationship to the rest of your body. In my static sitting or standing posture, I want my head to line up directly above my ribs, just like I've got my ribs lined up above the bowl of my pelvis. When these three big masses are aligned, my body needs the least amount of energy to stay erect. I'm using the combination of my skeleton structure, my fascia, and muscular effort in balance to stay erect. When I'm in poor posture and my head falls forward of the rest of my body, I need up to 10 times as much muscular force to try to hold my head up against the weight of gravity. And that's going to also lead to a lot of compression between each bone of my spine, which will cause wear and tear on the discs that are supposed to keep space between the bones. So you won't feel that necessarily as disc pressure right away, but you might feel tension in the top of the shoulders running up into your neck, or in this region like from just below your ear coming forward towards your chest, or in the chest itself, all those things. So that's your static posture. When you're stabilizing dynamically, like while your body's moving, the basic principle states that your head and neck should bend in the same direction as the rest of the spine. Okay, so that's me just showing side bending. And just as a comparison, I'm gonna side bend, but let's take my head and neck out of alignment. That wouldn't really be efficient. And right away, I already feel strain through here and here. And this is only good if you're like driving with a gangster lean. Okay, but we really apply this to every single motion. So let's go through some different exercises in different planes of motion so you can feel out what I'm talking about. Let's start on a quadruped and let's go through your cat stretch. Now, if you can do this near a mirror, it's handy because you can see what's going on with your own body. So when I start out and my back is flat, you'll see the head, ribs, and hips are in a straight line with each other. And then when I go into flexion, I start by tucking my tail, but then as I round my mid back up to the ceiling, my neck and head respond by curling down towards the floor. And that's where we get that idea that we're like a C shape, head to tail. Then when I come back out of it, I'm gonna go through neutral, and I'm gonna slightly extend. So my sit bones get wide and tip up at one end, and then my chest, chin lift at the other end. Let's go through that a few times. So you're gonna exhale, tuck your tail under, round your back using your abdominals to flex your spine, and then breathe in, stick out your tailbone, pass through neutral, and slightly extend by lifting chest and chin. And again, exhale, tuck your tailbone under, round your spine, let your head hang to see your knees, and then inhale to roll back out, opening the chest. One more time, exhale, tuck your tail under, scoop the belly up, keep your weight even between your legs and your arms, and then roll it back out, tail to head. All right, so that's something you're familiar with. But now let's try a side bend from this position. So I'm gonna cock one hip out to the side, or hike a hip really would have been a better term. And at the same time, I'm gonna side bend from my neck and my head like I'm bringing my ear towards my shoulder, and then come back to center, and then the other side. Okay, and I wanna give you a view from here, just so you can see what it looks like. So I'm gonna go over, and over, and over. And at the tail end, I didn't feel like you needed to see my butt in the camera, but it's kind of like I'm doing a fishtail motion. Okay, and while we're still in quadruped, let's play around a little bit with rotating. So I want you to take one hand off the ground, and you're gonna reach it under the other arm for that thread the needle motion. And you can see my head turn, so I'm looking towards the hand, and then I'm gonna bring it back out to the side. And let's just do that 2 more times. Exhale, I'm gonna reach under, looking where I'm going, and then reach back out to the side. And one more time, exhale, and inhale up. We're gonna switch arms, but I'm gonna give you that side view again in case you're not familiar with this move. Okay, so I'm gonna exhale, reaching under, and then inhale, I return my arm out to the side. Exhale, reaching under, and just a little bit, my hips are coming back of my knees when I twist, just to make room for me to do that, and then back out. Okay, so now let's take it down onto the mat. When I'm lifting my head up against the weight of gravity, that's when I have the most potential to compress and strain through this region. And that's the one bit of feedback I've been getting from clients is some people that aren't used to doing so much mat work are feeling really fatigued in their neck because they're not used to lifting their head so much. I'm sorry that I keep dinging. That's totally my computer, but I don't want to stop. All right, so you're gonna lay down on your back. Knees bent and feet flat. Now, our basic crunch, which we call the ab prep, refers to just flexing your upper spine. So here is the example. I'm lifting the weight of my head against gravity. Now, the first issue we have to deal with is the alignment of your head and neck. If I do not follow the bend of my spine and I'm looking up at the ceiling when I lift the head, now the weight of it's going to be really heavy and cause strain through the back of the neck. So we use a head nod, which we'll review in a second, to align the neck so that my gaze is actually forward at the knees. So let's try that first. You're going to put your head down. Okay, keeping your head on the mat. Begin with your gaze directly up at the ceiling. When you breathe in, I want you to tip your chin down just a little bit, like you're nodding to say yes. And then when you exhale, you're going to lift your chin and look back up at the ceiling. Inhale, nod your chin down slightly, and you're going to feel the back of your head slide away from your shoulders. And then when you look back up, you'll be restoring that natural curve to the spine. Do that one more time. Tip your chin down just a little bit. It's small enough that it shouldn't affect your ribs or your low back, and then lift back up. Now I want you to play around with incorporating that into how you lift. So you're going to begin with that small head nod, and then as you exhale, increase the flexion of your head nod as you curl the head and shoulders off. And you're coming up to about the bottom tip of your shoulder blade. And then lower back down, and I want you to keep looking at your knees so you maintain the flexion of your chin until it's time to put your head down. So I start with a slight head nod while I'm still touching the ground, and then I continue tipping my chin down to roll up. So just that change and then roll back down might be enough to fix whatever was bothering you at your neck. Try that one more time. So I tip the chin down, the back of the neck starts to get longer, and it maintains its long energy reaching up to the ceiling, and my gaze is right at the knees, and then back down. Now, if you find that even with that cueing, you still go to the old habit of tensing through the neck, you can take a little bit of support from the mat itself. So now I'm reaching overhead, grabbing the corners of the mat. This would also work if you don't have a mat, you can just use a bath towel and you just have to lay on it. So I grab the two corners of the mat, I've got my elbows bent and angled up so they're not creating strain. And I'm gonna still go through the same mechanics of nodding chin, and then when I curl up, I'm gonna let the weight of my head stay supported into the mat. And if you're not sure if it is, get up and then just drop your head backwards. You should feel like you're using your arms tensing to hold your head. And then you're gonna lower back down. All right, so let's do a whole set like this. You're gonna inhale to prepare. Exhale, nod your chin, curl forward, gaze at your knees. Stay for a breath in, make sure the head is relaxed into that mat, and then exhale to lower back down. And again, inhale, tip the chin down slightly, then exhale, curl forward, sliding your ribs toward your hips. Hold that lift, take a breath in to stay at the top, and then exhale, lower back down. 2 more times, breathe in at the bottom. Exhale, curl forward, gazing towards the legs. Stay here, breathe in. Exhale, compress your abs and return. Inhale, tip your chin down. Exhale to flex forward. Inhale, stay, relax that neck. Exhale, lower back down. Okay, let's flip you over. So now when I'm lifting up backwards, I do have to worry about aligning my neck, but the curve of your neck is an extension, so it's pretty easy to throw your head back that way. The key on bending backwards is to not go too far because there's so much potential for movement. Now, I've been wearing this hat on purpose. I mean, my hair is a mess, but I'm wearing this hat because I'm hoping when the motion's small, you'll see the movement of my head reflected more in the brim of my cap. So that being said, watch this like it's my nose as I start this motion. So I'm gonna take one arm just out of the mix for a second. I'm gonna begin hovering off the mat so I'm as close to a neutral neck as I can be. When I'm coming up into extension, the harder part to bend is really your ribs. So my neck, I don't wanna overdo it with my neck and leave my ribs out of it. Instead, I'm gonna pretend I'm pushing a marble forward with my nose. So it's just a tiny bit of extension. Then I'm gonna press myself away from the floor using the muscles in my upper back. Now the curve of your ribs is actually forward, so it's hard work to get your spine bending backwards there. And then I'm gonna lower back down. Okay, so I initiate it with the marble pushing forward, and then the rest of the lift comes from my upper back and my shoulder blades gliding back and down. And I'm gonna do 2 more of those. So this time I'm gonna show you with the arms so you can kind of play along with me. So you're gonna press into your forearms just a little bit. Press your nose forward, pull your shoulder blades back, And pretend your breastbone is getting pulled up and forward towards your nose, and then lower back down. And I'm not lifting up too high. I'm trying to come up to the height, let's say till just like 1 or 2 ribs are left on the mat. So if I go higher than that, I need to start engaging my low back as well, which I just like to keep out of the conversation. And one more time, pressing forward to start that extension, and then pressing through the arms and putting the work through the upper back, and then back down. Okay, you just put yourself in a quick shell stretch there, just in case we did overwork your back. And so while you're in a shell even, just one more chance to notice, since this is flexion again, I've got my head hanging, and so kind of like the cat stretch, you're seeing a nice, gentle curvature of the spine, and you can roll back up. All right, for spine twist, you can sit with your legs crossed or out straight in front of you, whichever you prefer. So that we can stay focused on your neck alignment without your arms distracting you. We're gonna go with the short lever, and you're just gonna keep your hands together out in front. Arms are about chest height. Okay, so your obliques, I'm just gonna turn my ribs, not even my head at all. That's about as much as my obliques can turn my body, keeping good alignment. If I try to turn farther than this, I'm gonna distort the shape of my spine. You can see this side got bigger and that side got smaller. Right now I do this all the time. It doesn't get bigger than this. But what I want you to practice is that much range of motion, but bringing your head with you. So you're gonna take an inhale breath to prepare. When you exhale, draw up your pelvic floor, compress your abs, and start to twist your ribs. Let your head continue so you're looking towards your back shoulder. As you inhale, come back to the center. On your exhale, rotate to the other side. Keep your pelvis stable as your base. And inhale back to the middle. Exhale as you rotate. Inhale back to center. So when we're just doing functional movement, this pattern works great. If you were reaching over your shoulder to grab your seatbelt in your car, right, you'd want to see where it was to grab it. Or if somebody was passing you something, you want to make the eye contact so you can get the object and not drop it. Some sports require you break this rule. Like if you're golfing, you don't want to turn your head and take your gaze off the ball before you hit it. But other than those exceptions, that movement's pretty functional. Now the last movement I want to try is a mermaid, so you can still remain seated for this. You're going to take one arm up to the ceiling, taking your breath in, and then as you exhale, go into a side stretch, bringing your head with you. As you inhale, you're going to stack up from tail to head, and exhale to lower that arm. Take your other arm up as you breathe in. When you side bend, you're going to drop one shoulder, let your head go with you into the bend. Inhale back up to the ceiling, and exhale to lower. Inhale as your first arm lifts. Exhale, pour yourself over to the side. Inhale, stack back up to vertical. Exhale, lower your arm. Take your other arm up as you breathe in, and then exhale to side bend. Inhale, back up to the ceiling. Exhale to lower. One more each way. Take that first arm up. Exhale, side bend, stretch. Inhale, back up to the top, and exhale to lower. Last time, grow tall with your inhale. Pour yourself over like you're a slinky falling down the stairs. Inhale, back up to vertical, and exhale to release. All right, I hope that was some good movement for your neck and that you can keep that on your mind as you're taking classes in the next couple weeks. Have a great day.